One, two, three. You only live once. But the question is, why you are not doing anything? Hi guys, this is Charles and welcome to this another video of our podcast about love, passion, and student life. Guys, I've been asking questions on my social media accounts on what do you think are the topics that we need to emphasize. And I've chosen one of those issues or topics in today's episode. And guess what? I've invited one of my dearest friend from my beloved campus. Of course, she is student leader right now, the current president of the University Supreme Student Government. She is none other than my closest friend, Julie and Lunar. Hi, Julie. It's been a year since I've last talked to you, and I'm so thankful because you accepted my request for you to be a guest for today's episode of my podcast about student life. How are you doing today?
Thank you for asking, Mr. Metcena. Well, I'm good and I'm doing well. Even though this past few days has been stressful and exhausting for me. Having an online class is not really easy because of the pandemic, but yeah, hoping that it will be okay soon. But then it will not stop us to do something good for our university together with the student leaders that truly concerned to our university and making it active despite of our situation right now.
Oh, that's good to hear, Julie. So, today's episode is about student life, and we will be talking about allocation of fund of USSG from campus administration, and this is an issue raised by a concerned student from University of Rizal System Taytay. But since I'm not yet familiar with this, can you please tell me about this issue or any stand about this issue, Julie?
The new elected officers in USSG Taytay campus started with a zero amount of fund, given that I am one of the student leaders. And I'm asking what happened in the previous USSG. Was there a fund? What we are saying here is that why are the admins doesn't have allotted fund for the mother org, which is important because there is possibility that the target amount of fund will not be obtained by the officers. Let's say that we can always ask for donations, either in the municipal or professors in the university, but why we cannot raise an activity or program without thinking where we can get the fund? That's the problem here. Why do we need to always ask for donations when there are admins in our university who can provide, let's say, allotted fund for school activities and program?
Now I am already getting the idea, little by little, the reason why this issue was raised by a concerned student of URS Taytay. Because there are a lot of things happening right now and problems that was focused the attention of most of the people, and I think that this issue needs to be emphasized since the USSG works for students to serve students, provide them with their needs financially, emotionally, and with their academics. So, funding, I think, is somewhat important. That is my perspective, but for you as a student leader, what do you think is the importance of having fund in an organization, Jelly?
For me, the importance of fund is that it is actually a big help for our campus, school activities, and programs. If we have enough fund to our university that is really allotted to our mother org, The activities and programs will not be a problem anymore because we have a budget on that. It will help also the other students who needs it, especially we have a program called A Load for Hope for the students who do not have the capacity to have data all the time for their online class. Most importantly, it helps us to plan smoothly and have a quality program for our university.
I totally agree with your statement, Julie, and I think that is really important. At the same time, right now, since we are talking about this issue, I'm just having, like, an idea, like, what would be the thinking of other student organization, because I know most of them would think that if the USSG will be able to get financial support, then I think they should also get financial help from the campus administration, because it will be unfair if the student organization who will only receive financial will be USSG. But somehow, I think one of the major argument in this issue is that since USSG is the mother organization, they are the one who handled most of the concerns of students. So I think that is the main reason why financial support should be given first to the USSG. Am I right? But there are also things that needs to be thinked, that needs to be like focused. So I just want to ask, since this issue is not being emphasized, why do you think the USSG fund or the problem in the allocation of fund is not being addressed by the campus administration, Jelly?
Well, my opinion on that, maybe this issue was not being raised because there are many issues bigger than this, and they think this is not necessary to talk about given the pandemic right now. But this particular issue is really necessary to talk about. The fund has an impact in every activity we raise as a student leader. And I think it is not really obvious that we are already lack of fund, but we are trying to fulfill the target that we needed for the upcoming activities and program. All we need is the support from our campus admins.
Since we are actually near into the conclusion of this podcast, Jelly, and probably this is the main highlight of this episode, and the one who raised these concerns eagerly wants to know, as a student leader, Jelly, what do you think, or how can you address this kind of issue? How can you raise this issue to the campus administration so that will be able to understand?
To address this issue, we can prepare a formal letter to show respect and formality, stating the main problem. We are not going to raise it informally because that is not a proper way to voice out the issue, right? The reason why we needed to raise it is important for them to understand and think what they need to do to come up with a decision. I guess this is not a bad idea, but if any of the officers have some suggestions regarding this issue, we'll talk about it.
Thank you so much, Julie, for giving us your time, for sharing your knowledge, especially about this issue raised to us.
Again, thank you for having me here, Mr. Metcena. I'm so glad that I addressed this issue with your help.
And that concludes our podcast episode for today. Again, this is Charles, who expertise at love, passion, and student life. Thank you and have a nice day.